and the infrastructure. Here we have a combination with different project leaders, consultants, and oh, förlåt. I'm extremely nervous, so sorry about that. Vad sa du? Okej, det är skönt det. So, I hope I'm heard better now. Yes, so this is the basis of the organization. And what I deal with in infrastructure, I deal mostly with the servers and the core network. While IT support goes out to the client, you know how that works, and the developers do their stuff. Let's see. So I can just give you a brief overview of like how the core looks at this campus. We have 3 server halls here. One in the N building, one at the beneath Maestro, and another one in between in the H building. So, but it's actually only this one, in the N building, that we have our servers and our server infrastructure. These 2 are old, and they were used before, and are still used today because they are the incoming. The network, the fiber from Sunet. But in our primary server hall we have in a server hall we have Hyper-V cluster, VMM, with storage spaces direct, and we have VMware cluster, Hyper-V cluster. Yeah. And so what to say about this? And here we have applied, we have some physical security around these perimeters. These 2 have basic card locks with alarms, and this one has a multiple card locks until you get in, and a camera that's surveillance that place. I don't know if we're supposed to go there later, Ola, or
it's up to you.
If you want to, we can go and check it out later. It's my
we have time.
If we have time, yeah. But today we'll mostly talk about security, and I don't know how much we will talk about like the core infrastructure, also about this. So we have this is just a nice picture of our current network here. It's often, so you can see this is just the switches. But yeah, so regarding our organization, it's kind of a mess sometimes with we have also this console, and we have some IT support that's on the departments. Like we have FTK has their own, and like art students and such, they can also have their own, and also consultants. Yeah, never mind about that. To monitor all of this, we use, and even partly manage it, we manage it also with SNMP, a lot of the switches. So the IT support is, can manage different specific ports upon here. As long as not too in the direct core. Yeah, but yeah.
Which part of the network are we looking at now? Is it the entire university or is it just
this is the entire
campus?
This is the entire university. Okay. So these two are our current core here. Wobbles, and here over here we have Kalmar. That spreads out. Yeah, the gray lines are probably devices that are in permanent maintenance mode. So the reason why we have them, like we could remove them from the software entirely, but we like to keep them for a while because, as you might have noticed, we have all these patches out there. So all of these patches has a number and it corresponds to a place in the patch panel. And some of these switches have the configuration for each of the ports. Like here we have this VLAN with this VLAN, and then it's kind of easy if we, for some reason, should replace them. Then we know, like, okay, that patch was on that switch, so then I can like look it up and I can find which and why it was like that. So it's just like contingency plan. I like backup if you would revert. Now this is most likely this we could actually kind of easily remove because this is related to the move in Kalmar they are making currently. They are moving from like their dispersed locations they have now, and currently they are all at the, what do you say, Hamn shipyard? No, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. So that's in that process. So that's why a building there is basically destroyed, network-wise then, so to speak. And these are, as long as it's green, everything is fine. And we can only see some yellow here, and it rallies on these lines, at least. And I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but as you can see, you can see it very clear here, but if you look at this, you can see we have, they generally are a lot who are double, triple connected, double connected to, because of the redundancy, of course. This is how we inherited it, but generally, of course, you know that you have a core network, and then you try to keep a redundancy between the distribution networks. But here it's become somewhat of a mess because a lot of these are access switches that are redundant toward the core directly. And we are actually planning right now, or we are implementing new fiber paths to create a more like standardized situation running this. But that's how it looks now. This is one of the tools that the IT support is using, the knob. I don't know if we're going to go into it, but as I said, it's like you can manage a certain port, or you can easily find, as long as the descriptions are right on the switches, you can find okay. This is another thing. You saw something that was wrong with this picture? Yeah, exactly. It's awful. We have another one set up now. So, but this one is the old with all old stuff. So it's not my main password for this. But still, you could. I mean, yeah. And I'm also currently. I'm not on your wireless network. I have my own. We have them because if you, I think this one actually you might be able to reach, but because yeah, you can. But a lot of those internal stuff, we have them to just our own network, of course. And when I set up my, I'm in a certain IT group, like an AD group that I can log into it.lnu.se, and then I come to my the same network as I do there. So it's a good account to have if you're going to hack someone. Yeah, and then we can see all the patches we are supposed to have in here. I think D1167 somewhere.
Yeah.
Some most yeah. Could, also, där finns ju. Probably there also.
There.
Yeah.
All of them.
Så det jag tog bara dem nu. I just took one random alltså. Then you can just change the VLANs and stuff. That's basically most what they're using it for, light support. But anyway, let's see. When we have our external services that we present to the world, we usually take them through the firewall. The firewall, sorry, the load balancer. But we take them through the firewall also. Yeah. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I have it in my head. I changed the DNS because I want to show you something else later in our new environments. It's, so sorry. Do you experience that the network is slow here sometimes, the wireless? They updated the wireless LAN controllers a few weeks ago. It was prior to the some week or something before the power outage, and since then the access points disassociate with the LAN controller they're supposed to connect to, and we have a backup, but it keeps like twisting and turning between them. And I thought that was solved, but I doubt it now.
We had a lot of trouble about 1 or 2 weeks ago when we came to school and we couldn't resolve an IP, and we had to wait like 1.5 hours for an assigned IP.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do anything, just wait and hope it fixed.
Yeah, that's fucked up. But
But only for 1 day, or
no, a couple of days.
a couple of days.
yeah,
Every day we had to wait for an hour. But it was only, I think it was only in this building.
I
Sure, maybe we did it in M building as well.
I think it's the same then. If the DCP should be, but they have the. I'm really not so involved in that, but I was wise enough to say I'm not touching that. But we are using a few. I actually wanted this guy who is our like network guy in Kalmar, and he manages the wireless. To show me this thing I'll show you now, but yeah, seems like he was always busy because yeah, now it's just 19, but when I looked at this morning, there was hundreds. So it seems to be not solved, but yeah, but by that the could be something about the IP range, because they're using different VLANs. They have 2, and then they added a 3rd to the DHCP scope. So I don't know if that could have been that. But this is our load balancer, or this is our cluster address of the load balancer. Actually, it's 2 load balancers. Currently, there is they have an active-passive relationship. So currently, it's the second one who is active right now. And this is most of the services that you are like externally faced services goes through here. It's not all, but most of them. And here we have had some discussions of how we set it up. So as you know how a basic load balancer works, I guess it's not something really interesting about it that way. We currently add all the certificates to every service that we want to face outward, but we also place it on the internal servers inside. A lot because of the QA, the developers can test directly to the servers, and we are also maintaining the security between those lines. We've had some discussions of how to do that. Like you could ask, the question could be like, why do you do like that? We could have basically as dummy forwarding. We could just set it there, and we could do that like that. The normal or the SSL offloading. But we are actually using it quite a lot to intercept the traffic and change the destination based on where it's going. So you can have, with this load balancer and a lot of other load balancers, when you have you re-encrypt the traffic instead. So we take the traffic and we look at where you're going, and then it could be that because you use slash, or in this sub URI, you're going to a special place, and then they have the developers are messing with. Let's say we want to try a new server, but we don't want API notifications in to go there. We just want API notifications out to go that way to test it before, or to take it step by step. And that's something we can do with this as we take the traffic and we de-encrypt it and see where you're going. And for the user, it will seem like you are directly at the service. And also, it could be like if you're dashing or going somewhere, we take you to another server, such. And here we have. So this is the messy part we have decided to do. We have certificate for every service. Then, of course, we have here, and it's quite a lot. another alternative, so then we take these and then we apply these to the virtual service, each and every one that we're going to use. But another alternative one could use, and that we partly use, is using the wildcard certificates. And they could be argued good for using that instead. This is extremely messy, because we have to update the certificates when they expire, or renew them at least, and we still are going to apply them to so many services. That's, it's a mess. So, but one alternative you could do then instead is to use a complete wildcard certificate. Currently we have some, like that. Someone that have a lot of, like a star, you know, wildcard.qa.lnu.se. So then everything below that is authenticated. But a convenient could be like to just use one. But then of course if it comes in the wrong hand, you can do basically anything you want. Yeah. And here, of course, is each and every services we have to decide like what a cipher set and.
Is it both internal and traffic coming from outside that you load balance?
Yeah, we load balance internal also. So, yeah.
How big are, I mean, how much would it take to DDoS the school?
The school?
I mean, you're the internal network or inside or outside, I guess it's the same, if it's the same load balance.
Yeah, we can calculate on it. Let's do the math. Now, currently, I mean, it's hard to say, I guess, but if you, I'm not entirely sure about how, we have some, let's see here. I don't know if I'm supposed to show you this, but possibly, like, if you malform the packet and you make it messy for it to calculate, I guess the traffic you'll have a hard time DDoSing itself, but maybe the processor, if you, I mean, after all, it generates you a unique certificate. Yeah, you know how SSL works, like when you send a request. Compare that to, now we mostly use 2048 bits, but still, I mean, imagine if you start pushing that a lot. And currently this is not behind the firewall or the proper firewall that could mitigate the DDoS attack, the checkpoint, because it's in web. So I don't know the numbers, but I think you could do it fairly easy if you should put your mind to it. But yeah, let me know how it goes.
I'm not going to try.
No, it's good.
What is the, I saw you had the load on the first break.
Yeah.
Break is the CPU load.
Yeah.
What is the, like, standard level? Is it like around 9-10% or this day is it a lot more?
It can be a lot more.
When is it when you like get alerts sent to you if something is happening?
I think it's when it passes like around, yeah, I haven't got it here, so 90, 95, but I've got it set up somewhere.
Is it usual or is it just certain periods of
No.
time, I guess, before?
No, it's really. Let's see, we can see when we have the CPU.
Because like before you can apply to the school, I guess there's a lot of traffic with people checking.
Yeah, yeah, it is. This is really slow.
Well, in the meantime, I can take a question here from the remote audience. They're asking about when you're on a wireless network.
Yeah.
How well separated are the clients from each other? Could you listen into each other, or are you protected from each other?
Depends on if you are on the web login. I think you're basically, yeah, you're not safe there at all. I think the what?
Is web login still active?
That's a good question. The guest. Then otherwise, I think you should be. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure actually.
So as long as you use your own network, you don't need extra protection, but if you're on a web login, you should maybe use the VPN or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure. Maybe the web login is not even used anymore. Or a new guest. Yeah, this is what I'm referring to.
Yeah, there's something called a new guest.
Yeah.
That's from protecting. Yeah.
So that thing I would avoid. Oh, look at that. It's getting some. Yeah, you see. But yeah, that's it goes up. But I think it's the user process and stuff like that. I guess it's generally. I mean, it's not. I can see it's perhaps higher than you would like it to be, but it's not been the problem on the CPU so far. But as I said, like if you want to, you could. I would try to malform SSL requests, and I don't know. We have a lot of rules. I don't know if I can show you some. Anyway, we have regular expressions on rules. I guess they are kind of easy for it to handle. Mostly. So someone with 20 of these, maybe you can get some. I think it's a minimal number of calculations for the load balancer. Yeah, so that is the load balancer. And then when to get the certificates, we use DigiCert.
Maybe you should plug in.
No,
No?
I can't because then I will lose my. So we use DigiCert for our certificates, our CA, and basically everyone in the infrastructure has this login, so they can come in here and see, and then they just request a certificate, and then we allow them or deny them. We're the DigiCert administrations. Or our LNU administrators of DigiCert. That's, I don't know what to say about that. It's kind of basic. So, but it has code signing, and here we can also revoke the certificates if they get lost or such. And yeah, EVCert, we can have this. Yeah. Email certificates and stuff. Yeah, that's it. And our mail, outside the mail, is we're using Sunet's spam filter. And here we taking the spam. We cannot see any. Before, when we set it up, we could see also all the spam and the non-spam and everything. But now we're not even ourselves able to see the non-spam. So when we set this up, we had to train it first with the Bayes token. What it's called? Do you know what that is or how it works? So basically, it's like we were monitoring all the mails that were coming in. So every mail that came to LNU, we were sitting, a lot of guys and girls, and going through them, each and every one. And then we said, like, this is spam, this is not spam, this is spam, this is not spam. And then based on our analysis of it, they could map words together that's likely to be spam and not spam. And by that, they then get a score. I think we should do like that. As you can see here on the right of the board, we see one here that 50.98 is currently the highest right now of the last 2 weeks, I think. And from the bias values, you can mostly get 5, but you can looked at it. You can get more of different criteria. And we can just see this. I've been here before. Why it gets these high values. So the from header is misplaced here. Your URI hostname has a long decimal, and probably all the weird signs in it and stuff like that. And we can also see that it's on some real-time blacklists, Roaring Penguins and DNS B1 sorbs, and here they also get 5 and 3 points. So it's
What is the soft fail?
The soft fail, that has to do with the it's a kind of fail. It could be worse. Basically, I'm not sure. The sender policy framework, it has to do with when you send a mail and you have something in your DNS header, so when it requests back to you, like who you are you, then it can claim that this is wrong, or it can be just a soft fail. I think that is when it doesn't give a correct value either. You know, it doesn't provide you anything. But I'm not sure about that. It could also be that we take soft fail because we're not sure. It could be, yeah, it has something about that. It's a long time since we set that up, so I don't remember exactly, but it has to do with that. We can see, I think we have it here. So we have something called SPF rules. And then we can also set different between fail and soft fail and stuff like that. So some can say, okay, we will always soft fail, I guess, and then we could set 0 there because it wouldn't affect them. But yeah.
This is just for the staff email, I guess.
The sender policy framework?
This filtering.
The filtering, yeah.
The students are on Google.
Exactly. They have the student.lnu. It's actually on just regular Gmail. Mm-hmm. You've seen that, like when you log in. So this is just for the staff.
And it works so-so.
Yeah.
I get quite a few emails in my spam box that shouldn't be there.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is a line here between like when it's spam, and so if you have 50, I think they will just throw it away. And if there's between 5 and 10, or 6.1 and 10, it will, okay, maybe this could be real. So yeah. Then here we set all the values. We have these, we can set different between the senders. We can say some senders is always allowed, some domains have either can give them different values and stuff like that. Countries, we can give them lower and higher ratings. And you can just like imagine like the countries you would use, like for example, okay, China and Russia, perhaps there will be a lot of spam from there, but the problem with that can be that they have so much spam that when we see something in Chinese, it's determined to be spam because there's so much spam there. So we might have to lower some of these countries a bit just to get some through. We don't allow exe and some file formats and stuff like that either. Can can have certain rules for DKIM and DMARC, and custom rules. Like for example, we can say that if this is in the subject and this is in the body, then we will give it more or less scores based on that. So some it can be some things that seems to pop up, and then we can see, okay, they tend to use these combinations, and then we use them. The mail guys didn't want me to show you too much of this stuff, so you can easily use this information to forge like real mails. And we also have a sender limit also. So if you would start, or if one of ours starts to send spam, send spam to others, then we will block them. We have actually been graylisted also, so we've been on one of these. This one actually. This is the value that we put on these real-time blacklists. So they changed the score then. Let's see here. This is another tool that I wanted to show you. I don't think it will. Let's see. This is a tool that's mostly used for monitoring the wireless environment. Are we there? Probably that's the one I'm connected to. I don't know if I would call it excellent for mine, but here we can monitor the clients and rogue access points and evil twins and stuff like that.
That will be a guest lecture on the next course.
Yeah.
We'll look more at this.
Yeah, but anyway, that's something we can talk more about then. And here, I think. And this is a tool that the IT support is using. It's anti-malware, so it's called Trend Office Scan, and they use it to all the staff computers and public computers and stuff like that. Are have this client installed. I think even I have it. Yep, so we can see what is behavior monitoring, data loss, device control, firewall, real-time scan, blah, blah, blah. So how this operates is that it checks it's just like an anti-malware on the computer, and then it has a stronger endpoint that it sends suspicious files to and stuff like that. And it can does real-time detections and stuff like that. So they go in here daily and change this, but I asked them not to now. And to reset this one. And sometimes if they find something and it looks suspicious, then they go to that computer and then maybe they investigate it a little bit more. Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that they get are from USBs that they plug into public computers or staff computers, and usually they're cleaned or quarantined, and sometimes they're unsuccessful with the quarantine, and that is usually because of they plug it out, like they get a warning here, and then they don't touch it anymore. It also has it notifies in case of an outbreak, or what it deems to be an outbreak. Its criteria is at least one unique source and 100 detections in 24 hours, and then there's something is not right then. That's I don't know, more to say about that.
Is that only for traffic coming in, or internal traffic as well?
No, this one is this is what the local client detects on the computer, and if it's suspicious, it sends it to a host computer that takes it and analyzes. But this is just for its internal.
What's the logs typically say?
You can see on one of these logs we were looking at before. Yeah, you can have different settings here. You see you have public computers or new servers. We don't have it on that many servers. It's not really sold into the server side. But we can look at a log. So here we can see something happened here at 9/24 or 10. In a few seconds later, that and that. And you can see the detail regarding it. You see the result is cleaned, it's quarantined. It says it is. Here we can see file path E, recyclers, blah, blah, blah. So that's probably a USB. That's someone plugging. And then sometimes when they're suspicious, they look it up a bit and perhaps go out to the computer and cleans it.
So something that was auto running when you started the USB.
Yeah, it's in real time. Yeah, it's scanning. It's good. Yeah, you can. There's a lot. You get some. Let's see here. I think there's some. Suspicious connections. This is a suspicious connection. Or rather not. Skype. They said that tends to fall within a suspicious connection. I think that has to do with their trying to NAT itself out. Probably the local port is 80 and it's trying to remote connect. Let's see, I don't know.
When it says 23 known threats here, are these that are seen now in some client or
This is the last 24 hours.
24 hours? Okay.
So let's see here, 24, 16, 3. There was something there, but yeah. They clean this every day. So they look at it and they make a decision. So what should we do with this computer? Do we say that it's fine, or there's something suspicious here, or and then they clean the logs. So for the next day, you'll have a new set of logs. Yeah. There's some strange sites that they block.
Great price.
Yeah, very. But yeah, that's the current malware detection antivirus.
Do you often use terminal to handle anything in your daily work?
Me? Yeah, I use Linux, so I don't touch a GUI. I don't know how to use this. I have Linux at home also, so this is really uncomfortable for me just using this. Just like, what is this? What is this magic? So no, I don't like graphical interfaces at all. But yeah, so yeah, that's some truth with modifications. I have some Windows servers that's laid upon my back with heavy heart, but I like. I'm not a PowerShell ninja, so I try to softly click around mostly. But a Linux terminal, that's fine, or a Cisco CLI. And here we have GUI. This is our current firewall. It's not in place in Växjö, or it's not enforcing in Växjö at least. It's checkpoint. It has a lot of it's a lot of cool features, but yeah, it is our going to be our future firewall to be on the outside. Currently, we have if we look at the server, if we look at the clients, we can see that they have you have basically no security from the university side. So you have a white IP, or you could host a web server basically if you're on the edROM, because everyone gets white IPs. We have such an enormous amount of them, so we basically just hand them out. Until recently, now that we are moving to private IPs instead. But that's how it works. And then we have some access rules in our current core, what you say they are routers, but they are going to be replace them by checkpoints and Juniper more powerful routers. So they will have some access rules that denies traffic into servers, and the servers themselves, they also have some firewall settings. So what's yeah. This one is basically built with from and to methods. So we have we apply the rules if it comes to a destination and it leaves a destination. So we have one outgoing rule and one ingoing for most of the relevant VLANs, and we have quite a few. See, we have a lot of them. And these are our wide IPs. We have -18, -19, -20. So it's an incredibly large scope of wide IPs that we possess. And then we have a 48 subnetted IPv6 band also. But yeah, I don't know. Anything?
Again, here can you easily see examples of traffic that have been dropped here?
Yeah. I think action.
Source, China, Brazil.
Yep. So you're there trying to use the 445 as a net BIOS, right? And I can see like what go to rule. See what rule catches it. Yeah, that's it. Held up, what did you say? But this is one.
90, okay.
Yep.
The Windows share code.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it restricts. Yeah, it's coming from everywhere. So.
And how many per seconds?
That's a good question. At what second?
Well, take a minute, we'll see. Maybe a little more about it.
Be that. Oh, let's see. Yep. No, can't go. It's the 25th today, right?
Yeah.
So we
4,000 at
Yeah.
least.
Yep. So it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
This was in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah. 23:59, but it's early morning in China. Yeah, and I guess it's very dependent on the time you take. But basically, that's I think they just most of them are just scanning around, like trying to find for the telnet. They want to telnet stuff.
It is probing and looking for.
Yeah, most likely they're making some. Yep, and it's a lot.
And Windows Share is one of the most popular to try to get into. So that's why it's blocked.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many, it looks like it's a botnet it's trying to get into.
Yeah. True, but the question is also why do they? Oh, look at that. They're all focusing on the telnet also. Like, if they were a botnet, they were. But yeah, they take IP for IP perhaps, and then they expect that IP to maybe that one will respond, maybe that one will respond. So I don't see. Yeah, the question is how unique they are, but they seem to be fairly unique at least in their source. Then, but, yeah.
But I mean, this type of filtering, having dashboards and so on, in those cases, the graphical user interface should be quite good, I guess.
Yeah.
But you still prefer a text-based interface?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Wouldn't it be hard to filter all this information in a text-based interface? If you want to look for something specific?
Maybe. Depends on. I mean, if you would just sort through, isn't this just text also? And if I would scan a log file, I'd use regular expressions and look what I'm like. Yeah, but yeah, there's I don't guess like this. I could actually now can't, but yeah, there's some nice features you could use here. For example, I could right click and then I can like source IP and then I could just and I get all this here on this. I have the query there, so I could put in special like parameters there if I want to look for. So yeah. So I don't know what more I could talk about. We have some. I think you said something about Shibboleth, but I don't really know what to say about it. It's a single sign-on service, so it's we don't touch it a lot. Just when we have new services that want to access it, we have to add metadata and like what they are allowed to get from us. But yeah, and then some attributes like what they are allowed to get from us.
Has there been any major breach or?
No, surprisingly not. You mean like security breaches?
Yeah, or viruses getting spread?
Yeah, it has virus-wise. Yes, that's. There was something about this. I don't remember what its name was. It's like what? Before Spectre and those, like the other one with the SMB protocol. No, not Heartbeat. What? Not the one I'm thinking about. Maybe. Anyway, there was one. I don't remember. This was so then the IT support were out running everywhere and had a lot of computers that they were messing with. But I think they solved kind of okay. Now this new, then they had the old Trend Micro. This I showed you before, and it didn't have this behavior, what's called behavior analysis. It can do some, it could analyze, like Checkpoint had that feature, and I cannot swear that they had said that, okay, this new trend, it's so good, we rarely get anything that's actually like a breach. But they said, like, okay, before we could have this and this, and then there was this major stuff, but I don't remember which one it was. But they have this, the Checkpoint, I know, they were like bragging a lot about their behavior analysis software they had in the Checkpoint. The firewall I showed you, they have also a client that you can put on every computer. And they had this like, okay, we didn't know about this virus, but we caught it anyway. So, and as far as I know, this new trend is more toward that. And I think it's becoming harder and harder to, to hack those stuff. As it like see behaviors like the process. What are you doing? Are you doing this and this? It has this real-time scan, so it's. But
okay, another question here. How is the university using virtual private networks?
VPN.
Yeah.
How we're using it.
Yeah. For what and how is it set up?
We do not have any site-to-site VPN. So we have our dedicated VLAN to Kalmar, so we get everything shoveled all the way. Maybe soon it does it in their end, I'm not sure. But we use it for client VPN. So we have 2 separate VPN domains that you can connect to. And this is actually, I think this is a problem. But we have the personnel, like anyone who's working here, and we have the IT department. So can select this. This is the employee, sorry, personnel, employee. And here we have elevated rights, of course. We can't access everything. It's not like this here, this wireless. But we can access a lot of stuff. And the problem becomes when we have like consultants. We can have consultants that's supposed to work on one of our servers or with like our Git repository. We have some Git repository that have to like be here and be on certain IP ranges. That's stripped down. The problem becomes then if you have like a consultant he really shouldn't be in IT, should have more separated and granular control of that. This one exploded when the power outages was. We had this one is also clustered. The VPN, they have 2 ASA also. Will you use them too?
Mm.
You use the ASA still? Yeah. So they have 2 ASA in the next course. Yeah. And with the power outages, both of them died. It was a messy time. But anyway, you should have more granular control. I think now it was okay, only because I had to get the VPN up and running, so we had to get to news. But otherwise, I would look at something else. Like soft Ether VPN is something I think I would have advocated for, if we had time to implement them. But yeah, and it works. But it works.
The reason why we use VPN is that some services on the inside is not accessible from the outside, like the payment system to pay out salaries and so on. So people from outside that need to work on those systems have to use the VPN. Otherwise, they don't use it that much.
Yeah.
But you also have a web VPN.
Yes. See if I can. Yeah, okay. I don't have to do that. That's kind of the point. But
And that can be used by the students as well, I think.
not sure.
I could be using VPN to connect to get access to your powerful computers here, Annual and EDA.
Right.
It's called VPN 200. It's like another special.
Yeah, that's a separate one for the department. Yeah.
And then same we used when we worked on the lab with the routers in GNS3.
Yeah, but no, yeah, that was actually a separate one as well, another third one.
Yeah, that's a web VPN also.
Yeah, and I think the students can use this one as well, this SSL VPN service, especially when you need to access something from a library that needs a subscription. So you need an ebook or something like that. And then it's all accessible from a campus. But if you're on distance, you can use the service to access it from anywhere else. Because there's restrictions on the licenses. I think it wasn't possible otherwise.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, you can say something about in general, how is it to work at the IT department of university?
Messy. Well, it's been, yeah, what can I say about that?
Is it boring? Do you get to test different things? Or
No, no, I wouldn't say it's boring, but it can be extremely boring. It can be some stuff like you get to inherit a lot of stuff. You take someone else's what they set up, and then you get it in your hands, and then you have to like, what is this? Like, imagine you come to you could take the effort to set it up yourself, and you would understand it like so quickly. But when you get it and you're supposed to solve every problem, sometimes you can be lost within it. I think that's a problem, and IT people are the worst at documenting. Me including. I mean, there's some things that's so ridiculous, like when you just it's like that you can. But yeah, it's really, really, really fun also at times when you don't get these sour apples. It's really fun. It's great, and especially when you take something alive and stuff like that. It's.
How many are you working in each department?
Finally, now in infrastructure here in Växjö, we have 5 people now, and that's good because we were 3, even 2 for a long time. I'm the oldest. I'm the most senior in Växjö, and I've been here for 2 years now. 3, 2.5. Yeah, it was spring 2016, so 2.5. And then I've been on parental leave for a year or so, but still, so the personnel rotation here is crazy. Yeah, it's just specifically yeah, it's state, so the salary is a bit lower, but you get a lot of other benefits. You get more vacations, a week more, and stuff like that. So it has its benefits also. And of course, you also have to, the organization is also kind of stale. Like, if you were at a startup and you start there, then I think you can change stuff more easily. Here we have 5 people working in IT infrastructure, but we have 10 project leaders. Like, sometimes it's and I think so completely with Calm, I think there are 6 there in the infrastructure, and so we're 11 totally or something, and then the developers are around 20 people, I think. 15 or between 15 and 25, I don't know how many, and the IT support is a lot bigger. I don't know how many now. It's fun. You can, yeah, many late nights.
Your background?
My background?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started studying here in, I don't know, a long time ago, and then I was a TA, teaching assistant for Ola, and then I started working here, basically. But yeah, so that's the trail. I was actually on one of these seminars. There was another guy who was far more confident, far more proficient with, but yeah, I was just asking a lot of questions, and he got impressed with me. And then the next year, when the students came back, he asked for me specifically, like, where's that guy? Where have an open spot for him. So that's how I started here. Yeah. And another problem I think that with this, I am also the youngest, and I am 32 years old, and I am now it's two guys who's younger than me in the whole. I'm talking about the infrastructure, the IT support, and the developers. And there's no one in the infrastructure who's younger than me. So you need new perspectives and stuff like that, and it's hard to. It's bureaucracy. It's university. You understand? It's state. It doesn't like you. Oh, containers. I've put up a Kubernetes cluster. We're going to use it, and then we have to. That's all. So you have to, push a bit to get anything. And then of course it's you get a lot of stuff you just you have to Google a lot. I mean, like I was really good at like all of this DMARC and Center Policy Framework. Now you said I basically don't remember it, so you have to like, oh, how did that work? And you have to go back to it. I was actually a TA in it, so I think then I really knew it. But you start doing so many stuff, and then just blumps you with everything. So it's kind of easy, of course, always to have that base, so you can just like start reading some RFCs, and you're like, okay, that's how it works. I now know. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about it.
Yeah, any more questions?
What are your interests? What do you want to work later? Like, are you developers or more servers or networks or work? Nothing? You would fit here? No, I'm just kidding. Anything else we could talk about? Yeah. And then, of course, you know there's a lot of stuff you just always know in the back. You say, we should start fixing that, we should start fixing that, and it just pours over with other stuff, and you never really get to starting with that project. And you, like, for example, that something so simple, like we didn't have a certificate on that server. We just inherited like that. And it's extremely simple. I would do it in 10 minutes. But we have another one set up, so that's why we also didn't care about it. How
often are you down in the server physically connecting cables?
Rarely. Since the dawn of virtualization, there hasn't been a lot of going down there. Just very rarely. I go down there sometimes just to pet them and just check them out, and everything's fine. But no, it's rarely. I think I'm more out at the. I know, not really, but very rarely. Sometimes we go out. We have diesel generators. So when we had the power outages, we had UPSs. So that's why we had internet and the IT department. We had our own UPS there also, and stuff like that. So that's something you have to test run now and then again, and stuff like that. But most things are in the internal cloud. So it's not.
How many of you have been down to the server room here? No one. Would you like to have a tour?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So let's end with that then, that you take them for a tour in the server room.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Will you be joining?
No, I have seen it so many times.
You know how it looks.
Yeah.
I think about the Dell switches we talked about.
Yeah.
They are there, and they are ready if you want them. So
Okay.
you can send one of your minions to your room.
Yeah.
extra
well,
credits.
You can bring some.
I think if we can access them, yeah, we can get them.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you very much. for
Thank you so
sharing
much.
this information with us.
Ja.